The story of Jesus of Nazareth is known across the world. His life is documented in the New Testament Gospels. We read of his miraculous birth in Bethlehem. We learn of his family's flight to Egypt and their return to Nazareth. A single story tells of a 12-year-old Jesus astonishing the elders in the temple at Jerusalem. This absence of information has created a space for many theories to emerge. People have tried to fill this gap with various ideas. Some suggest he lived a quiet life as a carpenter in his hometown. Others, however, have proposed more dramatic possibilities. They imagine him traveling to distant lands, learning from wise teachers, and gathering the wisdom that would later define his ministry. Among the most enduring and fascinating of these theories is the idea that Jesus traveled to India. This claim suggests that the young Jesus journeyed eastward along the ancient Silk Road. It proposes that he spent his lost years studying with Hindu masters and Buddhist masters in the heart of Asia. This theory is not accepted by mainstream Christian theology or academic history, yet it continues to capture the imagination of many. It presents a vision of a Jesus who engaged deeply with the great spiritual traditions of the East, becoming a bridge between different worlds of faith. The appeal of this idea is easy to understand. It offers a compelling narrative for the years the Bible leaves empty. It connects the wisdom of Jesus to the ancient philosophies of India and Tibet. For many spiritual seekers, this concept is deeply attractive. It suggests a universal truth that flows through all major religions. The theory invites us to look at Jesus not just as a figure central to Christianity. It frames him as a world traveler and a student of global wisdom. This perspective encourages us to explore the common ground between different spiritual paths. The most famous source for the Jesus in India theory, Nicholas Notovich, a Russian journalist and war correspondent. In 1887, traveling in Ladakh in the Himalayas, Notovich claimed an extraordinary discovery. He said he was recovering from a broken leg at the Hemis monastery in Ladakh. The head lama allegedly showed him an ancient manuscript. The text documented the life of a holy man from the West named Saint Issa, a name resembling the Arabic name Isa, Jesus. Notovich published this account in his 1894 book, The Unknown Life of Jesus Christ. The manuscript told a remarkable story. Isa left his homeland at 13. He traveled with merchant caravans along the Silk Road. His journey brought him to India. He spent years studying the sacred Hindu texts, the Vedas, with Brahmin priests. Issa lived among different communities, learning their customs and spiritual practices. He taught against the rigid caste system, preached equality, preached love for all people, and clashed with the priestly class. He traveled from India to Nepal to Tibet. In the Himalayas, he studied Buddhist doctrines for years. The manuscript emphasized compassion, nonviolence, detachment from worldly desires. These principles resemble core tenets of Buddhism. Issa mastered these teachings and at 29 decided to return to his land. The journey back completed the narrative of Jesus' lost years, showing him immersed in Eastern spiritual currents. Notovich's book caused a sensation in Europe and America. It seemed to solve the mystery of the lost years. For some, it linked Christianity with ancient Asian wisdom. It suggested a historical basis for universal spirituality. But scholars and religious authorities responded with intense criticism and skepticism. The claims were bold, and if true, would profoundly change understanding of Jesus' life and ministry. The debate over the Saint Issa manuscript had begun. The theory of Jesus' journey to India gains much of its appeal from the perceived similarities between his teachings and Eastern philosophies, particularly Buddhism and Hinduism. These religions were well established in India long before the time of Jesus. Hinduism, one of the world's oldest religions, has a rich tradition of sacred texts, Vedas, Upanishads. These texts explore profound concepts such as Brahman, the ultimate reality, Atman, the individual soul, Karma, the law of cause and effect, and Dharma, righteous duty. Hindu thought emphasizes the cyclical nature of life and the pursuit of spiritual liberation, or moksha. Buddhism originated in India in the 5th century BCE with Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha. His teachings are centered on the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The core message is one of overcoming suffering through wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. Concepts like compassion, karuna, loving kindness, metta, and non-attachment are central to Buddhist practice. Proponents of the India theory often highlight specific sayings. The Buddha taught, "Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the eternal rule." This sentiment is strikingly similar to Jesus' instruction in the Sermon on the Mount, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Both teachers spoke of a reality beyond the material world. Both encouraged their followers to renounce worldly attachments in favor of spiritual wealth. These echoes of the East in the Gospels are seen by some as more than just coincidence. They are taken as potential evidence of direct influence. However, it is also important to recognize that these similarities do not automatically prove a direct connection. Many great spiritual teachers throughout history have arrived at similar conclusions about the human condition. Universal themes like love, compassion, and the search for meaning are part of our shared human experience. It is possible that Jesus and the Buddha independently developed their philosophies. They may have been tapping into a common wellspring of human spirituality. Therefore, while the parallels are fascinating and worthy of study, they are not definitive proof of Jesus' travels to India. The Essene connection, a bridge between Judea and beyond. Another group often mentioned in discussions about Jesus' lost years is the Essenes. The Essenes were a mystical Jewish sect that existed in Judea from about the 2nd century BCE to the 1st century CE. They are described by ancient historians like Josephus, Philo of Alexandria, Pliny the Elder. These writers portray them as a community that lived apart from mainstream society. They were known for their strict adherence to the law, their communal way of life, and their deep commitment to spiritual purity. Many scholars believe the community at Qumran, which produced the Dead Sea Scrolls, was an Essene group. The Essenes practiced a form of asceticism that set them apart from other Jewish groups of the time. They shared their possessions, followed a simple diet, and engaged in daily rituals of prayer and purification. Their beliefs included a strong focus on eschatology, the study of end times, as well as angelology, and a belief in the immortality of the soul. Some of their practices, such as communal living, emphasis on ritual purity, and a hierarchical structure, have led some theorists to draw parallels with monastic traditions found in the East, particularly in Buddhism. This has fueled speculation that the Essenes may have been influenced by Eastern ideas. The connection to Jesus is speculative, but intriguing. The Dead Sea Scrolls reveal a community that was intensely messianic, awaiting a righteous teacher who would guide them. The teachings of the Essenes, with their focus on righteousness, light versus darkness, and spiritual purity, share some thematic similarities with the teachings of both John the Baptist and Jesus. Some have proposed that Jesus may have spent time with an Essene-like community during his lost years. This could have exposed him to ascetic practices and mystical ideas that were present within Judaism itself, without requiring a journey to India. This theory offers an alternative explanation for some of the more mystical elements in Jesus' teachings. It suggests that the spiritual environment of Judea was more diverse and complex than is sometimes assumed. The Essenes could represent a kind of bridge between traditional Judaism and more contemplative or mystical philosophies. While there is no direct evidence that Jesus was an Essene, the possibility that he was influenced by their ideas remains a subject of scholarly debate. It provides a potential source for his unique spiritual outlook that is geographically closer to home than India. Section 5, Traces of History, Jewish Communities and Ancient Trade Routes. To evaluate the possibility of Jesus traveling to India, it is crucial to consider the historical context of the time. The first century was an era of extensive trade and cultural exchange. The Roman Empire was connected to the East through land and sea routes. Most famously, the Silk Road. This ancient network was not just for silk. It carried goods. It carried ideas. It carried philosophies. It carried religions. Merchants traveled these paths. Soldiers traveled these paths. Pilgrims traveled these paths. Scholars traveled these paths, carrying beliefs and customs with them. This interconnected world makes the idea of a traveler from Judea reaching India plausible from a logistical standpoint. Furthermore, India itself was home to ancient Jewish communities. The Cochin Jews of Kerala have a tradition that dates their arrival back to the time of King Solomon, Paradesi Synagogue in Cochin. While that early date is debated, evidence confirms a Jewish presence in India for at least 2,000 years. The Bene Israel community in Maharashtra also has a long and storied history. These communities maintained their Jewish identity while living alongside Hindu neighbors, Muslim neighbors, Christian neighbors. Their existence proves that contact between the Jewish world and the Indian subcontinent was a historical reality. These Jewish settlements could have served as vital hubs for a traveler from Judea. A young Jesus arriving in India would not necessarily have been entering a completely alien world. He could have found fellow Jews who could offer him shelter, guidance, and a connection to his own culture. These communities would have been familiar with the local languages and customs, and they could have facilitated his interactions with Hindu teachers and with Buddhist teachers. The presence of these communities makes the narrative of his journey more grounded and believable, providing a potential social infrastructure for such a long and distant trip. However, the existence of trade routes and Jewish communities in India does not by itself prove that Jesus made the journey. It only establishes that such a journey was possible. It creates a backdrop of historical plausibility, but offers no direct evidence of Jesus' presence. There are no records from these ancient Indian Jewish communities that mention a visit from a young teacher from Nazareth. No inscriptions, no documents, no local legends from that period have been found to corroborate the story. The historical stage was set, but there is no proof that Jesus ever stepped onto it. Section 6, the scholar's gaze. Scrutiny, skepticism, and the search for proof. When Nicholas Notovich published his account of the Saint Issa manuscript, it quickly came under intense scrutiny from scholars. Many historians were immediately skeptical. Many linguists were immediately skeptical. One of the most significant criticisms came from F. Max Muller, a renowned Orientalist at Oxford University. Muller wrote letters to the Hemis monastery and published articles questioning the story. He pointed out that if such a significant manuscript existed, it would likely have been known to the many scholars who had studied Tibetan Buddhism. The complete silence from the academic world about such a text was a major red flag. The skepticism deepened when others visited Hemis to verify the claim. In 1895, a professor of English named J. Archibald Douglas traveled to the monastery. He later reported that the head lama personally told him that Notovich had never been a patient there and that no such manuscript existed. The lama accused Notovich of fabricating the entire story. While some have questioned Douglas's motives, his account cast serious doubt on Notovich's credibility. Over the years, other visitors have asked about the text, and the monks at Hemis have consistently denied its existence, further undermining the foundation of the theory. From a textual perspective, scholars also found problems with the content of the manuscript as presented by Notovich. The language and concepts in the Life of Saint Issa seem to be a simple mixture of New Testament verses and basic Buddhist principles. Critics argued that it read more like a 19th century attempt to harmonize Christianity and Buddhism than a genuine ancient document. It lacked the unique linguistic and theological character that one would expect from a 2,000-year-old text preserved in Tibet. The narrative felt anachronistic, reflecting modern spiritual interests more than ancient historical realities. For the vast majority of historians and biblical scholars, the case is closed. There is no credible, verifiable evidence to support the claim that Jesus traveled to India. The primary source for the theory, the Notovich manuscript, is widely considered to be a hoax or a misunderstanding. Furthermore, there is no corroborating evidence from any other source. No early Christian writers ever mention such a journey. No mention exists among the Church Fathers. No Indian records from the period refer to a visit from a teacher named Issa. No Tibetan records from the period refer to such a visit. Without such proof, the theory remains firmly in the realm of speculation. Section 7, A Tapestry of Faith. Why the India theory endures. Despite the lack of historical evidence and the widespread scholarly rejection, the story of Jesus in India continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world. Its endurance speaks to a deep human desire for connection and universal truth. In a world often divided by religious differences, the idea of a shared spiritual heritage is powerful. The theory presents Jesus as a figure who transcends cultural and religious boundaries, a master who drew wisdom from multiple sources. This vision promotes a more inclusive and harmonious view of world religions, where different paths are seen as leading to the same ultimate reality. The theory has also had a significant impact on modern interfaith dialogue. It encourages Christians, Buddhists, Hindus by highlighting the ethical and spiritual parallels between the teachings of Jesus, the Buddha-Hindu sages. The story fosters mutual respect and understanding. It allows people from different backgrounds to see reflections of their own values in the beliefs of others. Even if the story is not historically true, its function as a myth or a parable can be spiritually meaningful, opening doors to conversations that might not otherwise happen. Ultimately, the lost years of Jesus remain a profound mystery. The historical record is silent, leaving a space that faith, imagination, and speculation have rushed to fill. The India theory is the most elaborate and compelling of these speculations. It is a story that weaves together history, travel, a quest for spiritual enlightenment. While we must be careful to distinguish between what is historically proven and what is spiritually appealing, we can also appreciate the questions the theory raises. It prompts us to think more deeply about the nature of spiritual wisdom and how it is transmitted across cultures. In the end, whether one accepts the theory or not is a matter of personal conviction. For the historian, the lack of evidence is decisive. For the spiritual seeker, the story's message of unity may be more important than its historical accuracy. The mystery of the lost years invites us to approach history with humility and faith with an open heart. It reminds us that some questions may never be answered with certainty. The search itself, however, can be a journey of discovery, leading us to a greater appreciation for the rich and diverse tapestry of human faith.